Well, good afternoon, and welcome to this week's edition of Facebook Live. I'm Bob Spitz with my partner, Tony Whistler,
Hello.
and our guest today is Josue Solano from All Makes and Models in Tucson, Arizona. Hello, Jose.
Hello, everyone.
Jose, I always joke you're located in Tucson. That's about 5 miles from the sun, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but it does get pretty hot out here.
The only place where cactus wilts. So, Josue, why don't you introduce yourself to all the followers and listeners and watchers of our Facebook Live show and tell us a little bit of your history. How did you get into this business and where are you at?
Sure. Well, my name is Josue, last name Solano. We are in Tucson, Arizona, little border town over here, roughly about 45 minutes away from the Mexico-US border. And we started back in the year 2000. I started helping my dad. My dad used to work for Econolube. That's the Meineke franchise. And he worked for Econolube and Tune for years. And then he wanted to start his own business. He wanted to, just get out of there and start his own business. And and we found this little, it was a one bay little shop. And so I think they were renting it for like $500 a month or something like that. So we decided to, go in there, and that's how we started. And we started doing pretty good, and we had a lot of work. I started. I was doing like oil changes and swapping out parts like alternators, starters, things like that with my dad. And and I think we were there for like 1.5 years until the owner of the that little building, he was a mechanic himself too, and he used to work for Bagel Tires. So he saw that we were picking up and we had a lot of work and a lot of cars, and he must have thought, well, these guys are doing pretty well and making some money and stuff like that. So I'm going to go ahead and terminate their lease, and that's what he did. He terminated our lease and basically kicked us out of there. And so I was like, oh shoot, we were freaking out. So I started just driving around town, the in search of another location, and that's how we came across the location that we are in right now. It was an old abandoned gas station,
Mm.
but it had a 4 bay building attached to it, and but it was abandoned. So basically, I went next door and spoke with one of the guys there. Next door, they used to build sheds, wooden sheds, and I spoke with one of the guys there. He was a old man. And I says, hey, do you know who owns this building over here next door? And he was like, he was pretty nice. He was like, yeah, sure, yeah, I do. I'll give you his info. So he gave me the owner's phone number. So I got in contact with the owner. I told him that we wanted to start a mechanic shop there. He said, yeah, he had no problem with it. I signed a 5-year lease, I think it was, and the building itself was in pretty bad shape. I We get a kick out of this because when we first moved into the building, we were so afraid to leave our tools in there and go home because the doors were like in such bad shape that you would just push on the doors and they would fall apart. So so that's how we started. And that old man, this was back in 2001. This is when the when the September 2001 September attacks happened.
Mm.
Yeah.
Everything, all the economy and all that went downhill, and things were bad. And the shed shop went out of business. And the guy, he was from Chicago, Illinois. He was an old vet, and basically he had nowhere to go. So he comes over to me, and he's like, "Hey, would I be able to bring my trailer over here? Because we got a big old backyard." And he was like, "Would I be able to bring my trailer over here? Because my boss just went out of business, and he's gonna go ahead and leave the property, and I have nowhere to go." So I was like, "Yeah, sure, no problem." So he was my first service advisor.
Oh,
He started, he started helping me out, and we brought his trailer over to our property, and he was living there, and so he lived there for years until he passed. But yeah, he was one of the first service advisors that we ever had there.
That's a great
He
story.
he was a great man.
now was your dad still part of the business at that time?
Oh yeah, yeah. My dad, my dad quit working, going to the to work probably like 5 years back. He's like 70. He's 78 years of age right now, and he worked until he was like 73.
Mm.
He was a pretty good, stubborn old man.
Oh yeah.
And he's still around. He still goes and visits, but he is not uh, actively in the business anymore.
Well,
Very
that's
cool.
fantastic. Well, looking at pictures of your shop, you'd never guess that it was a dilapidated wreck when you moved into it.
Oh
It's
yeah.
beautiful
Excellent.
now.
Well, thank you. We try to make the best of it because it's an old building. That building has been there since the 1930s.
Mm,
Oh
wow.
wow.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it looks
Yeah.
like Uzi's watching too, so he wanted to say hi.
Oh, a little sad.
For those out there, that's his coach, his
Yep.
drive coach, Uzi.
He
So
does a
from
great
that
job,
point
by the
on,
way.
from 2002 on, you just started growing the business.
Yeah, we started growing the business. We My dad brought some of his ideas from the place he used to work at, Econo. He had many other ideas, and we started putting those ideas in place. And I remember I was so afraid to hire people back then because I sort of saw that as a burden instead of an asset.
Right.
But as I soon realized that as soon as you hire someone, that person will basically pay for it'll make its own paycheck, and it'll make you a profit as well,
Right.
and
Yeah.
that is something that you guys teach, and sometimes you forget about that. Sometimes I like I've been trying to hire another service advisor, and we'll make it a priority this year. And but yeah, that is in the back of your mind. Sometimes that's your mentality. Oh no, I don't want to bring another somebody else in because
Another
then I
mouth to
gotta pay
feed.
you.
Another mouth to feed.
Exactly,
Exactly.
another mouth to feed. But we forget the fact that they are gonna make they're gonna pay themselves, and they're gonna make you a profit. So
Absolutely.
Right. A good employee
Commissions,
makes
good.
you money, doesn't
That
cost you money.
that's
exactly,
right.
yeah,
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 absolutely.
oh
So
yeah.
you grew the business up to how many employees do you have now?
Right now we are. Let's see. We are seven right now. We're six
Yeah.
actually, because we're one guy down right now. Yeah, we're six employees, and then the owners. Mhm.
And
Very cool.
your general repair, yeah?
That is correct. Yep.
Light trucks up to light trucks, medium duty trucks,
Light trucks only. We don't do medium duty.
except for
Yeah,
your own truck.
Do you
that is
guys? Yeah.
correct.
So you guys have a couple tow trucks too?
We do. We do.
Yeah.
Now, is that making money for you as well, or is that just something that you use as a service to get the cars in the shop?
When we
If you-
first started, we bought one truck and then we bought another truck, and we found out that tow trucks don't make you any money, and there's a lot of liability into it. And so you got to be super careful with people's cars and stuff like that. And sometimes when you delegate that responsibility to somebody else, there's a lot of careless people who are, they get you in trouble if you're not there, if you don't not, if you're not careful enough. So
Yeah,
we
it's
found
its
out that
own
there was
business
no,
model,
yeah,
and you've got to treat it like its own very special business.
that is correct.
Yeah.
So we found out that there was no money in towing, so we said, you know what, we're just gonna go ahead and keep the trucks and keep them as we used to use that as a way to like bring people in. Sometimes when we were slow, we were barely starting and we were fairly new. Sometimes when you open up your business, open up a new mechanic shop, like many shops that just open up their doors, you start giving stuff away. Like
Oh, yeah.
we had a chain open up here not too long ago, and they started offering free oil changes, and we're
Mm,
like, how can they afford to do free oil
They
changes?
can't.
yeah,
Yeah, they can't. We
total loss
couldn't
leader.
yeah, exactly. We couldn't give our oil changes for free, but we were at least charging for what we were spending in materials. We would give our labor for free. That's how we started. And then we also started offering free towing, a way and kind of and sort of a way to like let people know that we just opened up and we're looking for business and stuff like that. But as soon as we started growing our clientele, then we went away from that. We moved away from that. And so, yeah, right now we have the tow trucks, and we sort of offer a discount to people who want to, like bring in their vehicles. Sometimes people don't even ask, oh, you guys offer towing? Yeah, no problem. Come and get it. They don't want to know.
Mhm.
Uh, but yeah, so we decided to keep the trucks. It's a good thing to have.
Well, it's
Cool.
great advertising too. Your name's on the
Yeah,
side
it
of the
is.
truck. Good looking
Oh yeah,
trucks.
yeah,
Mhm.
definitely. It
Yeah,
is.
yeah,
Driving
yeah,
around
yeah, yeah.
town.
So you've expanded the business now to what we call stage 3, where you have service advisors, you've got technicians, and you're managing the shop, correct?
That is correct.
You
That
you
is
don't
correct. Go
you
ahead.
don't have to spend your entire day in the back or the front.
No, no. Right now, I'm in stage 3/4. Right now we're barely we're starting to pick up a little because we were kind of slow. I guess every shop uh slows down at the end of the year, and then it'll start picking back up again uh, as the year starts going. And but I mean, for the majority of the time, I don't go into the shop until like 12 noon, 1 o'clock. The guys open up, they close, they do everything. And so yeah, I mean, eventually I want to get to stage 4, but that's gonna that's coming down the road, because right now, like we were saying, we are venturing with another shop right now. We are trying to grow as much as we possibly can.
Hmm. So you're
Mhm.
looking at opening up a second location.
That is correct. We, in fact, we got another shop right now in a contract, purchase contract, and hopefully we'll be able to close on that property soon. We're hoping in the next 60 months or so.
Mm,
Hopefully sooner. And this other location happens to be in a better side of town because the side of town that we are in right now, it's a very tough market.
mhm.
We are in the little Mexico part of town here, and everything's. I mean, you can find shops over here close to me, within 5 miles of my area. That'll they can that basically charge like $30 an hour
Oh my
for,
God.
yeah, I mean, super cheap. I mean, super cheap labor.
But not for long.
There's oh yeah,
Yeah,
that
not
is
for
Not for
correct.
long.
long.
Until they do it for a couple of years, and then at the end of the year they find out that there's no they're not making any money, and then they want to, they start looking elsewhere, to see if they can find some answers, like we used to be. I remember I was in those shoes in the past. We worked like 7 day, the 10-hour days or 12-hour days sometimes. We used to even open up on Saturdays, Monday through Saturday, and we were there Saturday at 8 o'clock, still turning wrenches and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, we noticed that you know what, we're not making any money. We're just we're spending a lot of time over at the shop, and we're not making any money, so not making any progress. So we got to start looking around. We got to start looking for answers. That's how everything starts. And
Is that how
then
you found Drive?
that is how we found Drive. We have always I've always believed that you have to train. You have to do training, because there's a lot of things that you don't know, and you have to hang around people who knows better than you. See if you can pick up a couple of things, and that is always been my mentality. We are in partnership with O'Reilly's right now, and every seminar that they have, or coaching shop or whatever that they have, we try to go to see if we can, learn something new. And I started going. I came across this other company, one of your competitors, and we started picking some things up, and things that we really liked. But they had a 5-year contract, so we're like, I didn't feel like, being tied in a 5-year contract. So I started, and then O'Reilly's announced this. I can't remember the name of it, but it was a shop analysis type thing. And I said, oh, you know what? That sounds like something I want to go to. So yeah, they finally they had this class, and the day comes. I'm in the class, and Jim, what's his last name? Saley.
Saley.
He was the instructor. And I think the class started at 6 p.m. And it was like 6:10, and there was nobody else in the room but me and Jim. Nobody showed up. And he was like, he said, well, I guess it's going to be a one-on-one class today. We're going to go ahead and get it started.
You got lucky there.
Yeah, got really lucky there. So everything he said, fit my needs. And I said, oh man, this is what I'm looking for. This is the way I want to go. Company who does something that I really need, and they got a 1-year contract. And yeah, definitely. Yeah. Where do I sign?
Very nice. Very good.
So that's turned out to be a good business decision for you.
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely. I mean, before Drive, I was looking for. I just like I said, it felt like I was stuck in a place where no matter what I did, I just couldn't get past a certain point.
You hit your ceiling.
And what's that?
You hit your ceiling.
Yeah, correct. And then what I did is I fired my accountant, because I was she couldn't provide me with any answers, and I thought the accountant had the problem. So I fired my accountant, and I found this other accountant who was supposed to be a financial advisor. So the first meeting that I had with my new accountant, her husband used to run another shop, and in town over here. So when I go talk to them, one of the things they said, oh, okay, you got to raise your labor rate. I think we were charging like $60 an hour back then.
Wow.
And we had we did have a parts profit margin. We used to mark up our parts. And the guy who my accountant's ex-husband, he said, oh, you should raise your labor rate. And but don't mark up your parts. Drop the markup on your parts. Just zero, no markup. So I was like, okay, yeah, I like the first part. I'll definitely go ahead and raise my labor rate.
But that
But
second part,
yeah, that second part where there's no markup on your parts doesn't seem right. So I'm not going to
Yeah.
listen to that. I'm going to go ahead and raise my daily rate, but I got to mark up my parts, and that made a difference. But there was a lot of things that I didn't know. Back then, I did not know how to read a P&L report, and I learned that thanks to Drive. I didn't know a lot of stuff about my financial reports. And now that I do, they do make a difference because now I'm able to calculate a owner's break even. I had no idea what an owner's break even was before, and I bet there's a lot of people around my area here who have no idea what owner's break even is.
I guarantee you they don't know.
They
Oh
don't.
yeah,
That's exactly
yeah,
right.
Yeah, yeah. So working with your coach Uzi has been good, huh?
oh yeah. Uzi's great. Yeah, he's great. He uh, he knows me well. He doesn't put a whole lot of pressure on me. He knows that once you start putting pressure on me, I don't work.
Oh,
Well,
you
he
I don't
speaks
like,
very
disappear,
I
huh?
highly
don't
of
like,
you.
yeah, I don't like stress, you know. Anything that's I told him anything that stresses me out, I walk away from it. So
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things we like to talk at Drive. Less stress, more time, and more money.
oh yeah, definitely.
Well, it sounds
Um,
like you definitely learned to work on the business, not in the business.
that's awesome.
That is correct. Yeah.
And I heard that you're an enthusiast of the expos. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. Every time we go to an expo, man, that's an experience. It's an experience that basically it changes your life. It changes the way you think. Uh, Number one, it's a getaway, for everybody that gets to go to an expo. It's a getaway because you're at the expo for 4 or 5 days, whatever it is, and you get to hang around with all this shop owners that obviously and not only shop owners but coaches and people that knows better than you. So there's a lot of stuff to be learned at the expos. Lots of there's lots of good energy, and that's what I love about expos. Every time I go in there, when we leave, it feels like we're charged with this beautiful energy. With the energy you need to like leave there and go do things. And in fact, right after we left the last expo at Vegas, that is when we got back home over here. I was telling the wife, you know what? I've seen this shop for sale, and I don't quite like the location of it because it's in an alley, but it's a beautiful shop. It's a 7-day shop, and it's already got it's been in a shop before. It's already got equipment. It's already got the lifts. It's got a compressor. It's got everything. And listening to people like Brian from California or people who have multiple locations, you're at the expo and you're thinking like, oh, you know what? If he's able to do things, why couldn't I? You know, of course it can be done. So yeah, let's just go ahead and get the ball rolling here and try to take it to the next step. So and as soon as we left Vegas, I told the wife, you know what, we're gonna go look at the shop, and I'm gonna go ahead and call the listing agent, and we're gonna start everything here. I think we got everything to be able to open up a second location. And
Now,
that's
one of the tricks to open up a second location, one is understanding the demographics of that new location, which takes another different marketing plan than the one you're using at your current shop.
Right.
And you're utilizing the drive marketing services, yeah?
That is correct. Yeah, Drive is doing they're taking care of our website. They're doing our marketing as well. They're doing our social media. They're doing everything. And I think right now we got a pretty good system in place thanks to you guys. And this is definitely going to make things a lot easier for us to be able to replicate in a second shop in a second location.
Well,
So
the other point to open up a second location, and talking to you earlier, you're in an enviable kind of position because you seem to have good luck with recruiting, huh?
Mm.
Yeah, we have no issues recruiting actually. People just come into the shop and asking for jobs, and we got a pretty good reputation, I think.
Well, you
And
do.
everybody,
For that to happen, you do.
yeah,
Absolutely.
and people that I've had at least a couple of people who know me, and they're always like, "Oh, I've heard your shop is always pretty clean, and you treat people good." And yeah, most of my oldest employee has been with me for like 15 years. She's been there a while, and I plan to make him my general manager once we because once we I told him once we open up a second location, if we're able to replicate what we got here, projections of sales and business at the other location are better than our current location. Once we do that, I'm gonna go for a third location. I'm gonna find another another shop
That's
where
great.
we can make a little more money, because the area that we are in right now, it's not very good. I mean, it's tough to make a dollar here, but yeah, I mean, we came from making $250,000 a year, and then the most we took it to was like $750,000, and ever since we started with Drive, we make over $1 million now. So
Congratulations. That's
Yes,
great.
we like to
thank
make
you.
$1 million shops.
Oh
Yep.
yeah, definitely. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely working
That's
out, and we're excited to start up a new shop, another
That's
shop.
great.
So will you make him the general manager in the shop you're in now, and you'll go over and start building the other location, or how are you going to move him over to the other shop?
I'm probably going to make him my general manager at the location we are in right now,
Right.
and eventually, what I'm going to have to do is every time you start something new, you have to, of course, sacrifice some things. So I know I'm probably going to have to go in and work at the second location for a little while until we get things going, and until I'm able to find a good service advisor there, or a couple of service advisors and a couple of guys. And once we get that going, then I'll find a replacement for Tony. That's his name. And so he can help me with some of the things that normally a general manager does.
That's
Awesome.
great.
Yeah. It's always best
Well,
to like keep your team intact and then
absolutely.
build the other team. Never poach your other
Oh, no. Don't
shop.
rob Peter to pay Paul.
Never want to do that.
Now, before we run out of time, Tony, I want a little station break here and a couple of announcements. And one is, don't forget the expo. As
That's right.
Jose has said, that's a dynamite place to get re-energized and network with some fabulous shop owners from across the country. That's coming up in June. If you haven't registered for the expo, by golly, let's get that done.
Yep.
And next week's Drive Facebook Live, who do we have, Tony?
We have Dan Vasquez of Performance Motor Works of Rockland, California. The cool thing about Dan's been in a lot of my workshops, but he is a very tech savvy guy. He's young. He's a go-getter, and we're going to talk about the fact that he has a completely paperless shop.
Yep, he's a paperless
Every
shop.
single thing is digital, and he is an absolute whiz. And he was one of our first clients to really get a handle around our Drive apps. Like, he was on top of it right out of the gate. So that'll be a great show to talk about the technology and the fact that he runs a completely paperless shop.
Yeah. And if you'd like to know more about Josue, I want to congratulate you that you are our spotlight shop in this month's Drive publication in our blog. You can go onto the Drive website, driveshops.com, go to our blog and read all about Josue and just see the success he's had. Josue, I want to thank you so much for joining us today. It's great to see you and wish you nothing but continued success. I don't doubt you'll get there. You've got the
Thank
right
you.
attitude, the right viewpoint, and with Drives back up, you got a great coach in your corner.
Yep.
Definitely. Thank you so much, guys.
You're very
You're
welcome.
very welcome. You take care.
You too. All right.
Okay.